Alright, greetings and welcome back, gentles and ladiesmen, to episode 6 of Exo Plays Spyro 2 Ripto's Reclusion. In this exciting episode, we're gonna be doing a bunch of boring shit. We're gonna be backtracking. And, just full disclosure, I actually did a full session with Autumn Plains. And played all the levels in there and talked about all that, but... after the fact... I kind of looked back at what I had for commentary and stuff, and I wasn't satisfied with it, so I'm doing it again. And thankfully, I have 2 memory cards, so I can save backups of my memory, because this game auto-saves without your permission, and there's no way to turn it off or get around that beyond saving a separate batch of save files on a different memory card. But thankfully, I did that, so we can come back and give this another stab. Biggest reason for that being, and I'll get into that in just a minute.
Well done, Spyro. The power from your orbs has activated the whirlwind.
Yeah, so this is the point where the orbs are starting to come into play. Really, their main purpose in the story has yet to be unveiled. They are basically for the last chunk of the game. That's when they really come into play, but a couple times on planes they'll be like...
Legend has it that there is a portal to Zephyr here, and legend also has it that I know how to activate it. Furthermore, as I recall, the legend mentioned something about me activating it for a small fee. Thanks for the gems, Spyro. With all this cash, I can open a lizard burger shop in Skilo's Badlands.
Oh, moneybags. I do find it really amusing that every time he talks to you, he's like, "Oh sure, Spyro, I can open the bridge for you, for a small fee." That's like his catchphrase. I find that really amusing, personally, but I don't know about you guys. And speaking of moneybags and backtracking and all that lovely stuff, we have another moneybags over here, because all the characters in this universe can be in multiple places at once, didn't you know?
Well, well, I bet a rich dragon like you wouldn't mind cashing in a few gems to learn how to climb. I'd be willing to teach you for, say, I don't know, a small fee. You won't regret it. Okay, when you see a wall surface that looks climbable, like the one to my left here, just jump onto it, and you will grab it with your claws. Use the D-pad to move up and down, and press jump again to get off. You can also jump sideways onto another climbable area.
And this mechanic is only really used in one level in the entire game. That's not to say it's not used in more levels. There are other levels with ladders in it, but there's only one really good ladder climbing section in the game, and that's in a level we have yet to play, and I'll be sure to point that out when we get to it. So before we start exploring Autumn Plains and go to the worlds there, now that we can climb ladders, we can go back and grab shit we missed. Because this game has forced backtracking in it, and Spyro 1 did not. So first things first, we're gonna jump all over here and go back to Glimmer, the first stage in the game. So, like I said, this is my second attempt at a second session of this playthrough, and the reason being is I found that I was getting kind of negative. I mean, like, no matter what, I'm gonna be I have criticisms of Spyro 2, and I'm going to point them out. It's not like that. It's more like I felt like I was over-dwelling on certain things and talking about them for too long. And I wanted to be more fair to Spyro 2, so that's why we're back.
Hi, Spyro! Welcome to Glimmer! Unfortunately for us, a mob of lizards just showed up and started stealing all of our gems. Can you stop them?
So, as you can see, since this is the first time we've come back to a level we have not played before, this is why I don't like the spirit particle system. I know I said I wasn't gonna get too negative, but I do have to mention this. The reason I don't like the spirit particle system as much as, you know, just having enemies drop gems when they die the first time, is that if you have to come back to a level and you need a power-up gate, you have to kill all the enemies again. Not all of them, you only need a certain amount of them, but Still, you're forced to kill a bunch of enemies where when you have to backtrack in Spyro 3, for example, you do not have to kill any enemies at all. Once you've gotten all the gems from all the enemies, which you should do very easily because, you know, it's kind of hard to lose track of them all, then that's it. If you have to come back to go play a Sergeant Bird section, you are not forced to fight all the enemies all over again to reopen a power-up gate. So that is why I'm not a huge fan of that. Now, supposedly...
Head on up the ladder.
Okay. Now, supposedly, I've been given a tip from my buddy Obbeef.
Hey, great! You've got the Superfly power-up active. Now you can light the gem lamps in this cave.
Because for some reason we needed to have to come back to do that. This really simple, easy task. But let's not dig too deeply into this. Honestly, if the backtracking instances were about on the same level as Glimmer here, I really wouldn't care that much. It's just a thing that takes like 2 minutes at most. Like, as you can see, I did have to reactivate the power-up portal by killing a bunch of enemies, but that took like 2 seconds.
Thanks for helping me light the lamp, Spyro. For a while, I was afraid we were going to have to cancel tonight's baseball game. Here, somebody mix this orb in with the baseballs.
By the way, I would like to note that the gem cutter we met at the start of the stage did not mention Ripto at all. Just, let's put a pin in that. Let's put a pin in that. Let's put a pin in all of these levels, why don't we? That's another theme that I'd like to start dropping breadcrumbs for right off the bat, but I digress. If, like, pretty much we're done with the backtracking and Glimmer. Like, if this was the worst it got, then, I could forgive the backtracking pretty much entirely. Because this isn't, that took me like 2 minutes. That's harmless. And the next level we'll be going back to is harmless as well. And like I said before, if you go to Colossus before Idle Springs, you can skip that backtracking too. So there are ways to minimize the backtracking, and at least in the first couple instances, the backtracking is relatively inoffensive. But there are later levels in this game that are significantly less inoffensive, and those are the levels I have that I draw the biggest issue with. So we're gonna head back into Colossus because I fucked up and didn't get our skill point in the first run. And unfortunately, in order to get back up to the hockey rink in relatively quick fashion, I will have to kill all the enemies to reactivate the portal. Now, this is a case that you can avoid if you just do the skill point right the first time, obviously. And we're gonna skip what Brother Arnie has to say, because we've already seen it. And we will stop to listen to what Brother Clive has to say, because he's a celebrity in these parts, and his word is God. Or his word is bond, or whatever the hell. There he is.
Who needs a key when you know how to chant like this?
Go watch the Z-Bros playthrough of Spyro 2, and you will get my Brother Clive jokes. Or ask Jester J, he's probably in the comments, he knows. Let's see, we still have not killed enough to activate that spring power-up that would, at least we have this whirlwind here, I'll take it. And pretty much we can walk around the sides to get to the Hawk. No, we are gonna need to activate the portal again. We could try killing that yak over there. And, supposedly there's a special speedrunning tactic in Spyro 2 where if you do like a charge jump, or you do like a charge at like the peak of your jump, then Spyro will hop higher or something, and it's only in Spyro 2. And personally, I never knew about this until someone pointed it out, Obby pointed it out in the comments. And he says that if you use the double jump effectively, you can skip some of the backtracking in this game. Which I'm gonna guess is true, because he says he's done it, so I'll take his word for it. But then again, like I said, the instances of backtracking that you can skip using this ability are the ones I find inoffensive to begin with. So it's just like, it's good to know. I'll probably study up on how to do it so I can skip backtracking in Sunny Beach and Glimmer the next time I replay Spyro 2. But trust me, the double jump is not going to help you skip the Fracture Hills backtracking. The double jump is not going to help you skip the Shady Oasis backtracking. You need the head bash to complete those levels, and there's you know, double jump's not gonna help you with that, so... And those are the levels, spoiler alert, that I have a problem with when it comes to backtracking. And I'll be sure to tell you all about it when the time comes. But for the time being, we're back here playing more hockey, because I fucked up earlier, and I did learn from a commenter. Let's see, who was it? Let me credit him real quick, because I do have this pulled up here. A commenter taught me that you can actually leave the hockey minigame once it starts. Cosmic Crown, he has a King DDD profile picture. Seems like a really nice fellow. Cosmic Crown told me that if you want to quit the hockey minigame, you can do that in the middle of it. All you have to do is just jump out of the arena and leave. Which I'm not going to show off unless if I fuck up. But that is good to know. I would have liked if the game had told me that, but, you know, when it comes to getting that skill point, that's actually very useful information, and now that I know it, I'll know it forever, so... And now that you've watched this playthrough, you know it too, so... Hardly the end of the world, that particular flaw, or whatever, you know, like, they should have just flat out told you that's how it works, but whatever. I'll take what I can get, I'm fine with it. I'm not gonna, you know, make a mountain out of that molehill, so to speak. I'm gonna make sure I do this right, or I don't know, I'm way ahead of schedule in terms of getting these points in. Still not a fan of the ice physics, still not a fan of the camera angle they've got going on. And keep that camera angle business in mind for a minigame we're gonna be playing at Sunny Beach, because they did have the capability to change the camera angle, they just chose not to. And I'll have evidence for that coming up here soon. And, I don't know, I guess while we're playing, here's my little spiel. Here's why I'm redoing this session of the playthrough. And the reason for that is, I felt like I was spending a bit too much time talking about things I didn't like in Spyro 2, things that I would criticize that, you know, when you apply critical thinking to how this game is designed, don't make sense or aren't that fun or, you know, stuff like that. And while that stuff is important, and I'm gonna talk about it either way because, you know, in my reviews I practice critical thinking, that's important to me. You know, I do want to talk about when a game does something wrong and reward it when it does something right. And I'm gonna be doing that for Spyro 2 no matter what. But I felt like I wasn't spending enough time talking about the good in Spyro 2. So, while we're backtracking, now that I've pretty much said all I need to say about these particular levels and backtracking, like, Glimmer is not too bad, it takes 2 minutes. Sunny Beach is... they make you replay the whole stage, but whatever, it's a short stage. And then this time, in this particular instance, I just fucked up. He's gonna send it right in the goal, and I'm gonna... Alright. So I guess we'll go see if Cosmic Crown's tip-off bears fruit here. We'll just leave. And yeah, I guess that's it. That resets the minigame, then you can come back and talk to Brother Arnold here.
Ah, have you come...
Alright. We'll go back in and try this again. I actually didn't know that dialogue was there. I suppose you could probably leave all the minigames and there's unique dialogue for that. Can't fucking see. Which is always great when you're... See, that's what I mean when I say the camera angle isn't helpful. It's like, the turning radius on the ice is like not good enough. And I also can't see where my opponent is at all times. And I mean, it's not like it's hard or super hard to get to 5 points. Especially if you've got the endgame bonus that pretty much makes this a cakewalk. Still, I really would have liked a better camera angle for this, Insomniac, and I know you could have given me one, but you just chose not to. They could have had an overhead camera view where you could see the whole rink at once, and, you know, even with the D-pad controls, I imagine it would have been fine. You didn't need to make the ice controls like this. Like I said, I think Spyro probably has the worst ice physics I've ever seen. Like, there's just, it just feels so imprecise, no matter which movement control you're using. And we already fucked up. So now we get to go try again. So thank you, Cosmic Crown, for this very important tip. Otherwise I would have been fucked. Many times there, I would have had to come back to the level if I didn't know that, like, twice now. So I recommend just doing this later, honestly. Wait till after you've beaten the final boss and gotten the 100% completion reward. And then come back and play this. It'll make it so much easier to get to 5 points. Are you kidding me? You failed already, you terrible goalkeeper. I blame the goalkeeper on that one. The goalkeeper AI on the opponent is too good, and then your AI is too bad. You know, at this rate, I might just have to come back later with the 100% completion reward. I actually forgot to come back and do this in my previous session that I did. So, yeah. So I don't know, I guess while we're doing this, like, did I fail again already? Are you fucking kidding me? Fuck you. You deserve to be fried, asshole. Alright, I might have to do like a montage dealio, because you guys don't need to see me fail this over and over again. If I fuck up again, then we're cutting. Alright, I'll take it. It's 1 point down. And I do kind of have to focus on this, unfortunately, because if I... Get off me! Ooh, almost had a skill shot. Okay. That's gonna bounce back. Where'd it go? See, this is what I mean. I can't see the rink. I can't see where he is. See, I should have grabbed that, but I didn't because of the ice physics. And now he's gonna score on me. Okay, thank goodness. Like, for a normal run of this, and even, you know, like I said, you could totally cheese this with the end completion reward that you get for getting 100%. Like, completely cheese it up the butt. And I'll take that point as well, even though it feels like I crossed a line or something, you know, crossed a boundary. That's probably a technical foul, is what that was. But I'll take it. Like I said, you could cheese this very easily with the 100% completion reward. Like, when you know your way around the AI, it's easy enough to get in points even so. But still, I feel like the only source of challenge from this minigame comes from the camera not pointing where you want it to go, and the ice physics. I don't want to dwell on this minigame too much, but, you know, there's the skill point, we beat it, it's possible. And he's just gonna tell us the same thing he already told us and give us the same orb. That's the skill point for Colossus. We're done this level, as the Canadians would say. You know, still, I do feel like, I do feel like that minigame is flawed, and I think it's because of the camera and the controls, and I'm going to point that out, because we're going to be thorough in this playthrough. Yeah, damn it. And again, I do want to talk about what Spyro 2 does right, but, you know, every time I want to, something comes up. I mean, so far. I'm trying to be, you know, detailed on why I don't like the backtracking, you know, foreshadowing and stuff. By the way, in that level in Colossus we were just at, Ripto was not mentioned. Ripto had nothing to do with that Yeti that was terrorizing the monks. Just wanna drop that breadcrumb real quick. He has nothing to do with what happened in that level at all. He is never mentioned ever once. In fact, let's talk to this guy real quick.
Hi, Spyro. It's a good thing you're here. If you can help shepherd those baby turtles over there to safety, I'll be mighty grateful.
Ripto is not mentioned by Prince Tortoise. Ripto has nothing to do with the water workers invading Sunny Beach and capturing the turtles. That happened completely apart from Ripto being in this game. I'm gonna drop that third breadcrumb there. Some of you probably know where I'm going with this, but I'm just saying. We have to replay the entirety of Sunny Beach. Thankfully, you can skip the enemies. Like, since I already got that, like, you know, one of the orbs here was you activate the Super Flame power-up, and then you use the Super Flame power-up to break the boxes and free the turtles, and then you get an orb from that. I've already done that. You can do that very easily on your first run of the stage. So, you know, You're not gonna have to reactivate the portal or grab a bunch of spirit particles in this level that you are forced to backtrack to. Thankfully. But 2 other levels in this game, unfortunately, do not work that way. Well, actually, one of them doesn't, but we'll get to that. So we can skip the power-up gate. We don't have to give a shit about that. We already got the first ladder thing. Like, I'm pretty sure you could probably time one of those double jumps over there from here. So I'm sure it's possible to skip that one. Like I said, I barely know what the double jump is or how it works. I've never used it. I've never needed it to 100% this game. I don't think it should be. I appreciate that it's there for sequence breaking purposes so that I don't have to waste my time coming back to these stages, but still.
Hello, young one. There's a chef up at the top of this ladder who wants to make soup out of our turtles. Maybe you could climb up there and stop him.
By the way, the climbing mechanic is not used in this minigame, so there's no reason why it should be locked off with the climbing.
Your turtle friends happen to make a very good soup, if I can catch them. You can try to say them if you like, but I'm feeling awfully hungry.
So, Spartan 117 Master Chef here is going to take the baby turtles and put them in the cauldron. And see, the camera angle is different, and the controls still feel fine. They could have given that hockey minigame an overhead camera angle if they wanted, but they decided not to. Just saying. And this, unfortunately, the hockey minigame isn't the only minigame where I feel like the camera is detrimental and, falsely increases the difficulty.
You saved a few turtles. There are more where those came from. Here, take this orb and go away.
Some reason he gives this to you without you agreeing to go away. I don't know, I guess we have to have 2 rounds.
If you step a little closer to the pot, I'll start ringing my bell again.
So this is round 2. Like I said, I'm a fan of this design philosophy where, you have the easy round for the people who suck at video games and just need that 1 extra orb to go fight the final boss or whatever. That 1 extra power star to go fight Bowser and clear the endless staircase. And then you have the second round for people who are going for 100% or who just are looking for a challenge. You can flame the turtles too, but it's not nearly as effective. If you charge at them, they will bounce around, they will go much faster, they will bounce off of walls, and you could basically billiards them into the water pit back there. That is the easy way to do this minigame. This minigame's okay. It's not a badly designed minigame. It is kind of satisfying to see them bounce off the walls, I guess. But in terms of being challenging, not really. It's not very challenging at all. I mean, I guess if you don't know about the ramming versus... or if you fuck up like an idiot like I just did. Yeah, and nothing happens, you just start over, and like I said, it's an easy minigame anyway, so... You are allowed to walk around, like I guess, but usually I just hang out next to the cauldron and that works out just fine. I said, not a very challenging minigame in my opinion, my own failures aside. That's just me being bad at video games, it's not the minigame itself being hard in any way. I guess this is variety, but it's not all that interesting. Like, when I think of the highlights of Spyro 2, the turtle, save the turtles from becoming soup minigame doesn't exactly come to mind, if you know what I'm saying. I think of plenty of minigames from other collectathon games, like a certain third game in a series that I love oh so much. Not so much this particular turtle minigame, that does not come to mind. I don't know, it's fine, it's inoffensive, whatever, you get your orbs and then you move on. And, hardly the worst minigame I've ever played. Not really an especially great one either, is what I'm trying to say. And that should be it, I think. Or not, there are more. Because apparently these turtles are pretty dumb. They want to go in there.
You save every turtle on the beach! Here, take this. I was gonna use it to buy potatoes, but now I don't need it.
And that's it. All we have to do now is go grab the gems in this pool, and once again, you do have the gem finder ability right off the bat in this game for some reason. I don't know why. It should be an unlockable, but whatever. So if you can't find those last gems, you can always do that. But yeah, with that, we have completed Sunny Beach, and by extension, we have completed the first round of stages connected to Summer Forest. And because of that, we can move on now. We can move on. In Part 7, we can go on to Autumn Plains and start playing around those levels. And I'm trying to remember where the gate is. I think it's over here. Probably go do that real quick, and then we'll call it a part, just so I'm not wasting... Yeah, let's double check the guidebook. If you ever don't know... Oh, that's right, I almost forgot. We have one more last bit of backtracking to do, and it's back over here. You might remember that ladder we couldn't climb earlier.
There's something shiny at the top of this wall. Maybe you could climb up and get it.
Because for some reason, being able to climb ladders, which is a very underutilized mechanic already, is not an ability that Spyro just has from the get-go that needs to be an unlockable so we can come back here and do this. See, that's the, like, I don't think any of the forced backtracking in the first hub world is offensive, but I don't really understand what the point of it was or what it adds to the overall experience. Like, I'm not an expert on the double jump, but I'm not sure how you're supposed to use that to get up to the top of the Summer Forest atrium. I'm sure somebody will show me, like, a video response and say, here's how I do it, but, you know, why did the developers who made this game say to themselves, let's lock off abilities behind paywalls and force the player to backtrack to older stages? Like, what was the thought process behind it? What does it add to the overall experience? How is it an improvement over Spyro 1 just letting you do everything at once? And my answer to that is, I don't think it's an improvement. I think it's a step backwards. But regardless, we will have plenty of time to talk more about that in the next part. Join me next time in Part 7, and we will start exploring stages in Autumn Plains. And until then, I'm Exa, and I'll see you guys next time.